Early Access. My name is Katie Whitlock. I am here with Veronica and Sara. Veronica and Sara, it is lovely to have you back. Thank you for being here.
Hello.
This is actually the second time Veronica and Sara have been here. This is the third time Veronica's here. So if you recognize her voice, she has been on before. I interviewed her one-on-one. And then she brought her sister Sara to do an interview, and it was great and lovely, and we talked about so many great things. And then the audio got lost. I went back to edit the episode, and the audio was not there. So we had to re-record, so we're here. The good thing, though, about Sara and I were talking about this, I don't know if other threes relate to this. I imagine other nines will relate to this, is that neither of us remember anything about what we talked about. So it's going to be great. We're going to retake. If we can, I just said Veronica has been on before, but Veronica, just in case people have not listened to your individual episode, I'm going to have you both introduce yourself. Veronica, I'll have you go first. Can you kind of talk about who you are, what you do, and then your intro into the Enneagram?
Sure. Okay, so I'm Veronica. I'm 32. I live in downtown Chicago. I'm a research scientist for a molecular diagnostics company, and I'm a 1. How we got into the Enneagram. So both of us went to UNC in Greeley, Colorado. And at the time, I was attending, like, kind of off and on Atlas Church, which TJ was, not TJ, but Jeff and TJ were running at the time.
Right.
And so when they launched the podcast, we were like, what's this Enneagram thing? Like, this is very cool. And
yeah.
Read a bunch of books. We're listening to all the podcasts. They started a small group series, like, on site that we couldn't go to, obviously, but then they opened it up and started doing the Zoom sessions.
Cool.
And so that's really when we started getting into, like, the nitty-gritty of things and really talking. And because you can read books about this stuff, but it really, like, you don't get kind of the practicality of it and the, like, how people experience it without talking to other people who experienced it. So got Sara involved, got the whole family involved. Not as much as us, but they still, like, they know and they kind of understand a little bit.
Sure.
So, yeah.
So you're an OG around the circle.
Yeah, I think I was, like...
Not follower, but whatever.
Patreon number 5, maybe?
That's crazy.
Like, I'm talking, like, the first month, like, registered.
That's crazy.
So it's been cool to see...
Thanks for being here.
them expand and, like, join, like, all these new people and all these new ideas and all these new formats. It's been really cool.
Yeah, it's fun. I like that you said there's a part of the Enneagram that you have to talk to other people to get as well. So the people who listen to me know this, I was brought up under Suzanne Stabile's school, or, whatever, way of teaching. And the thing they say is that it's solitary work that can't be done alone, which I always thought was super cool. And then how I talk about it is just like what you said. I really think there's a part of this wisdom that, like, cannot be accessed unless you're talking about it with other people. Because you can't, the whole point of it is that there's things about you that you don't know, right? There's, like, the shadow side and the hard parts about yourself. There's this whole part of you that other people see that you don't. And to hear other people talk about it, and to hear like, every time I talk to threes or I hear other threes talk, I'm like, oh my God, I do that. I never would have thought about that, but I do that. Yeah. So I agree.
That was kind of the thing with them is that, like, we're going to get to it, but I'm a 1, Sara's a 9. So seeing their dynamic was kind of a mirror for us also, and was kind of a launching point. Sorry to spoil it, Sara.
Spoiler alert.
Here, Sara, you go. Now you can introduce yourself.
My name is Sara. I am a kindergarten teacher out in Corvallis, Oregon. So living out in the Pacific Northwest. And yes, I am a Enneagram 9. I got into it via Veronica, who, after she had heard about it, she was like, hey, you should look into this. And so we, took the test and did some digging, and as a 9, I'm like, yes, please tell me who I am. So love that whole bit of it, and really jumped into it. Similarly to Veronica, we both kind of ate it up and found it to be really insightful and really great for giving language to how we feel and our similarities and differences. And I think as you were speaking, this whole idea of solitary work that you can't do alone so much of it is relational and how we relate to other people. And so using it as a tool, not only, you know, we don't type other people, but knowing there are other types of people and giving a little bit more wisdom to, okay, maybe I'm reacting to this in this way because this is how they might be feeling or something like that.
Yes,
and just really
exactly.
helps, you know, view humans as more human, as like we are all different. And that's great. And it's wonderful. And again, just giving more language and awareness to all of that.
So, okay, I do have one question about that. So 9s, because you're a 9, we say that the superpower of a 9 is to be able to see all sides, right? To see both sides in an argument. 9s, that's why it's hard for 9s to argue, because they understand where you're coming from and they see where everybody's coming from and all the things, right? So it's interesting to me that you would say that the Enneagram taught, this is not exactly what you said, but taught you how to do that, right? Can you talk a little bit about like what it felt like before as a 9 to like see all the sides versus what the Enneagram has given you?
Sure.
Does that question make sense?
Yes. And for me, it's almost the reverse in that it was hard for me to understand that not everybody sees all sides of things. And so when arguing with people or having discussions with people, I'm like, how can you not see this other side, or to have empathy for all these other different aspects, or how did you not see that? And so the understanding that just not everybody sees things in that way.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it also gives you communication, because you can know things and it can be up here, but unless you can verbalize it and explain it,
Yeah.
I think having the vocabulary, not to
Yeah.
No, I
that
think
on
that's
you,
great.
but
No,
No.
yeah, that's, yeah.
I think so too. I tell people this is one of those things that like sounds fake until you learn the Enneagram, and it happens to you too. But I just get mad at people so much less often. You know what I mean? Like I used to get so frustrated with people. I didn't understand why they did things. I thought they were so stupid, like whatever. That says a lot about me too. But and I just like it takes a lot for me to be like, I don't understand why you're doing that. Right? Like people can do so, once you learn the Enneagram, people can do so much before you hit the point of like, that does not make sense to me. Why are you doing that?
I think understanding that different people have different motivations of like, why are they doing that? Oh, because right now they need attention. So that's why they are doing this, because they need people to see them in order to understand who they are. And like, I'm still annoyed at that, but I can understand it. But also, can you please stop? Because that's really annoying.
Yeah.
But especially for people who don't even realize that they're doing it, I think it's also a very helpful tool, because that person might not even know that they're looking for attention.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you can offer that to them and give them what they need, it can also help the situation.
Yeah. Agreed. Okay, I have one more setup question for y'all. So you guys are sisters. How many years are between you?
Almost 2.
Almost 2. And Veronica, you're older.
I'm the oldest.
Okay. Can you
She
kind of
is
walk
the
us
eldest
through
daughter.
the eldest
Oh my
daughter
gosh.
and a 1?
And a 1. It's a combo.
Yeah, all the things. My cousin is just like you. She's been on the podcast too. For Sara, for anyone who is wondering, she's the eldest daughter. She's the eldest cousin, and she's a 1. Can you guys kind of walk me through, though? One thing I liked that we did on the podcast that got lost is you guys kind of talked about your college journey together. And if I can, I'm going to set that up actually even before that. Can you kind of talk about how you got along when you were kids? And then kind of can you talk about how you got along once you were in college and everything, and maybe post-grad?
Okay, I can start. This is Sarah. We have very similar voices, so sorry if it's hard to tell the difference. My voice is wrecked. Being a teacher, Friday was field day. And I recently decided to try out for community theater. And so I'm in Guys and Dolls. And so...
Fun! Congratulations.
So we've had vocal rehearsals all week. So.
Yay. Well, you sound fine to me. I would not have known.
Super. Anyway, so growing up, so I'm the second of 4. So there are actually 4 of us kids. Veronica being the eldest, a 1. I'm a 9. We have a brother who's a couple years younger than me, who's a 4, and then our youngest sister is a 6. And so growing up, I very much was kind of, as I would think, like sort of typical middle child, very go with the flow, whether or not nature versus nurture, whether I had to be or that's just kind of who I am. But I also really liked following Veronica, and she was the oldest and she made the rules, and so whatever she said went, and that's how I took it, and that's how it would go. And that became a problem when my 4 brother came along, because I was like, ooh, now I'm in charge. And absolutely not. That's not how that went with him.
He was like, I'm not doing that with you. Yeah.
And so on my side, that's how things went. I wouldn't say we were particularly close growing up. I think we have different personalities. Like, I don't really remember ever, like, playing together, just the 2 of us, maybe because I was too young. But we would play together, the 4 of us. Like, I remember we would go in the basement and we called it downtown, and we made like our own little city down there. And like, each of us had like a little area, and Veronica had the ear piercing station where she would put stickers on our ears to pierce our ears, stuff like that. And so like, I remember playing things like that, but I wouldn't consider us particularly close. And when we got to high school, Veronica started doing color guard and with the marching band, and needed more people, and so she recruited me, and so then I joined color guard. So we did that for a bit, and we practiced together, and then she went off to college. So from my viewpoint, that's kind of how I remember things.
We also grew up in like suburbia. And so we were like neighborhood kids all around the same age. So we were like mixing and matching a lot besides just the core family. So then after high school, I went to UNC, obviously, and kind of took my time figuring out where I was going to fit in. I didn't really have I kind of see my life kind of in like 2 phases of like childhood, teenage years, early college to like after college, when I really feel like I figured out like who I am.
Same.
And also kind of separate from what I thought I was supposed to be. And I don't know how that really applies here, but I tried a lot of different things, and I kind of like figured out where I fit. So then when Sara came to UNC, I was kind of like, this is the cool stuff to do. This is the coffee shop where we go to study. This is the sorority I joined. They're awesome. Like, this.
Follow me.
Yeah. And it's kind of that thing of like, not to, like, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but of like, I don't want to do what you're doing. Like, I need to figure this out on my own. You don't know what I need or what I want. But then in the end, she was like, no, like, these are the cool people. So these are like.
This is where on my side it is a little bit different. So when we were younger, Veronica did not like that I followed her around. She did not like wearing the matching Easter dresses. She did not like that. She would get mad if I tried to hang out with her and her friends. She'd be like, "Get out! No, go away." And so going to college, I didn't want to follow her because I knew she didn't like that, and so. Not even purposefully, but also trying to find myself, and like, maybe I'll try what you're doing, but I don't know, like, I also don't want to invade your space because you don't like that. And I know you don't like that. But then eventually with her being like, no, actually it's fine, like, come on and hang out with us, it's okay, then I started to like, all right, then I'll come and try some of those same things.
Fun. Sara, was there any, like, I know sometimes for 9s it's easier to say what you don't want versus what you do want. So was there any, like, I have this, like, pattern or whatever set out for me by my sister, and for all these reasons, actually I've decided I don't want that, I'll go do something else. And then it turned out actually that was fun. Do you think that played into it at all, or not really?
I don't think so. I don't.
There was a little bit of, like, because I was so established, putting words in your mouth again.
Yeah, trying to not be the kid sister. Like, I'm not just like, Veronica's sister.
Dude, am I just invited because of who I know? Or is it because of who I am? And not, again, putting words in your mouth, but like being a 9, finding like identity versus like merging with just what it is.
And very much my freshman year, I also went in like, okay, I'm going to be a whole new person. I'm not going to be quiet, timid, scared Sarah. I'm going to go to college. I'm going to go talk to people. That did not work. But I did find friends, and so that was great. But sort of this idea of trying to reinvent myself to not be who I was, and not trying to reinvent myself, but be more of myself. Kind of struggling with growing up, and even to this day, still feeling like I'm not enough, or feeling like my personality isn't big enough, or that I'm too like stable. Like I don't have a lot of highs and lows. I am pretty consistent. And so just trying to, when I was really little, so like early elementary, I was very talkative, like got in trouble for talking in class, that whole thing, had a lot of different friends, had friend issues, but like, you know, still I was very like much more social butterfly. And then I don't know what switched, something happened end of elementary or into middle school, and I was really shy, and anxiety set in, and became very timid and very quiet. And so it was almost like in my brain, I knew that there was this side of me that could be outgoing, but anytime I tried, it felt like I got shut down, and a lot of rejection and being ostracized, and, you know, all that fun stuff that you deal with when you're 13 and 14. And so going into college, trying to get back more into who I was. And that, I mean, worked a little bit, but still having a lot of the anxiety. And I think similarly to what you both were saying, like it wasn't until after college, kind of being more of an adult, now I have come back to who, like, I feel like I am more myself, and I'm not as worried about what other people think, and I can be more outgoing and that kind of thing.
How old are both of you? Did you say that?
I'm 31.
33. Okay. So say another kind of interesting part of our story is then, like, after college, we both moved out of our home state and kind of moved closer to extended family, but like knew nobody, like no friends, no like connections really, and kind of started over in two different places and kind of landed in very different environments that we were raised in, but are now, I can only really speak for myself, but feel like I really am becoming who I am. And am able to kind of like unfurl and like become this version, which also goes hand in hand with the Enneagram of finding language and finding identity and finding community and camaraderie. So it's interesting how we were like doing the same things, kind of like merged, but they're still in parallel.
Parallel, yeah.
Kind of, but like literally on different sides of the country now.
Right, I was just about to say, like, you moved like apart, away from each other.
Yeah, it's like woods, downtown Chicago.
Yeah,
very different.
like kayaking, taking the train uptown.
Yeah. Right. So now that we've landed post grad in the story, kind of where we are now, to get into some relationship stuff. This is gonna be a broad question, but I imagine we'll kind of narrow it down. I want to start with the positives. So we have a 9 and a 1 as sisters. What is easy being together? What is easy about being a 9 and a 1 together? Maybe how are you similar? What do you really appreciate about the dynamic you have with each other?
I, being a 9, I do have a pretty significant wing towards 1. And so I feel like Veronica and I both have some similarities in terms of like our sense of justice and like wanting things to do, we want to do well, and we want things to go right, and there should be an order to things. And often we're both like that doesn't make sense. This is what makes sense. And we can agree on certain things. For me, having somebody to go to, like if I need advice, I know like she's not going to BS me. Like she's going to give me like the real true answer, and maybe not care about my feelings so much, which was maybe hard when I was younger. And has been, you know.
That's a strategy I had to learn, was like, do you want advice or do you want me to listen? Do you want me to like feel this, or do we want to like brain this?
So having somebody that I know I can go to for those different things has been good as far as our relationship goes.
I don't remember how many sessions back, but on one of the second Saturdays we were talking about nines and how they really like harmony and how the one also wants order, and how order and harmony are not the same, but are kind of similar. And I was listening to a different podcast, which is talking about the Oscars and how it's one of the only instances in pop culture of consensus that we have left.
Nice.
And I really zoned in on the word consensus. It's like we both want things to be as they should be.
So that, okay, first of all, that's really interesting. One, I do want to plug, if anyone's listening to this and does not know what Second Saturday is, Jeff Cook and I host once a month on Saturday mornings. It's the second Saturday of the month, from 11 a.m. Eastern time to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And we talk about a different Enneagram topic every time, and maybe, I don't know, like 15-ish people show up. And it's a lot of fun. So if you're interested in that, go to our Patreon. You can learn about it. But I agree with Veronica. We always come up with some great stuff to say. Here's the thing I want to ask you too about that. When you say there's consensus and we both want things to be right and there's a way to do things, is it focused on things and like processes and like maybe the environment, how the environment feels, or is it more people and relationships? Like what are you agreeing on?
Well, so another like framing of this is that because we live separately, we live fairly separate lives, when we're coming together, like that's a very unique situation of like everybody has time off of work, we're all on vacation, like what are we going to be doing together? How are we gonna,
it's like winter break.
Yeah,
everyone's home for Christmas. What are we doing for the week?
How do we meld all of these lives, all of these people who were one thing when we were all small?
Yeah.
And then how do we like come back together now that we've kind of expanded and kind of, I don't want to use the word outgrown, but no, kind of like outgrown different. That box.
Yeah.
And so when we were younger, like not.
That's all you know.
There's a power structure to families.
Sure.
Like the mom and the dad are in charge. The kids are like, they look up to the parents. And now that we're all adults, I'm like, I'm in my mid-30s. Like I'm in charge of myself.
Yeah.
So I'm allowed to have my own opinions about things. Not allowed. That's too strong, but a little bit of like.
I thought it was very one of you.
Where it's like, no, I want to go to this place while we're here, and that's kind of a lot of the conflict or the things is just like about scheduling. Mm-hmm. It's less so about like, I didn't like the way that you talked to me about this thing, or you can't have an opinion about that. You don't know what's going on in my life. Like, it's not really like. I feel like there's different families that are more involved maybe with their like day-to-day. So we're kind of in a unique situation, which is like kind of why we have so much experience of like how everybody, what all of their, I know stance means something specific in Enneagram, but like what everybody's stance is when we're coming to this like situation of where are we going for dinner? Okay. Yeah. How is everyone going to approach the problem of where are we going for dinner? And who cares more and who cares less? And who just wants the decision to be made and who wants the decision to be the correct decision?
So one thing we talked about in the last podcast was you guys have no independent numbers in your family, right? I know we didn't go over your parents' numbers, but...
we skipped them.
That's okay. What are they, quickly?
So my mom's a 2 and my dad's a 5.
Okay, great. I remember that.
Yeah.
So we have no assertives.
Yeah, because my parents are the same.
Yeah.
So that's one thing we talked about, again, on the audio that was lost. That's really interesting, and I like that you bring up the dinner example again. Can you guys talk a little bit about... Well, before I ask this question, Sarah, do you have any thoughts about that last one before I...
Just that Veronica and I had talked about this a little bit, and like, yes, we both want consensus, and that's a big thing. As a 9, I want consensus. I want what is going to make the most people happy or the most people comfortable. Whatever that answer is, I just want everyone to be on the same page. As a 1, Veronica wants everyone to be on her page. So it's consensus, but she is right because she is right. And so that's not always the case. But often it's, I saw something that was like, you know, arguing not to try to come up with the right answer, but arguing to get other people to come to your side. And so I feel like Veronica often, not because it's not like an ego thing. It's that she has thought through different scenarios and situations and thinks through things very quickly and has answers to things. Now, it doesn't really work in the dinner conversation because it's not like there's a right answer of where to go to dinner.
Right.
But as she makes a face,
yeah.
she's
Always
like,
there
wow.
always is.
Unless there is a right answer,
So and so kind of the difference in like, yes, we both want consensus and I want the harmony and she wants the order. And it's all very similar, but just slightly different in those kinds of ways, I think.
Veronica, what does that feel like to you? Because you made a when Sara said, "Oh, it's Veronica's page," you made a face. So, what does it feel like to you instead of, it's my choice and everyone needs to do whatever?
I think that is secondary. So the primary is like we need to pick somewhere to go. Like we all have to eat, we have to decide this.
Task.
And so to get that completed, we have to figure it out. And if no one else is going to give a solution, I'm going to find a solution, and then that's the one that I'm going to advocate for because we have a solution. And being a one, I trust my instincts on 100% of the time. And so that's kind of where it comes from, which is like interesting that that's how it's perceived versus like I have this entire thought process
behind it,
but that's not what comes out.
Why do you actually either of you can answer this question? Why do you think it's perceived like this is my choice and I want to do what I want to do, whatever?
I think it comes from, there's a lot of factors involved of like society being raised by it too, of people pleasing being the expectation of like putting yourself second and like making sure like other people are comfortable. And I, having gone through like several years of therapy now to kind of break out of that box because I was really stuck in like very specifically like being a good person means putting yourself second. And so now that I'm like, I'm not putting myself second anymore, it's very jarring.
Yeah. And does that feel wrong? Like, was that why that was so hard for you? Because it felt...
For a while, it did. I think I've moved past it mostly. But then it still also comes back sometimes.
Sure.
Especially if someone says, like, hey, that was too much. Or I didn't need it to be that black and white. I didn't need that type of honesty.
Yeah.
So when it, I guess, crosses other people's boundaries and what other people, like, it actually causes harm. I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think the other hard part with having a strong opinion is our family overall is quite passive. And me being a 9, I am naturally in that boat. Me and my dad and my brother, we're all pretty easygoing and fairly passive. As far as things go, Charlie more so on the surface, but he, who knows what's going on in his brain. He's a 4. And so me naturally being that way, it's hard when we talk about, like, both Veronica and I think Mariah as well, being more opinionated and now being able to be more of themselves and be a little bit more assertive than we were as kids, because they have both grown into themselves. And as Veronica said, she's worked a lot on being more confident in who she is. That can be hard for me to relate to because I am not that way. I truly am like, whatever, it's fine. I don't actually care.
Yeah. Genuinely. Yeah.
And so I think that's for me where sometimes it's a little bit jarring when it happens, because that's not who I am and that's not how I am. And as kids, that's not how they were, but it's because they weren't allowed to be.
Well, it was like I think I would rephrase maybe what I said earlier of like just expectation setting.
Mm-hmm.
The expectation set for us was to be modeled after, or how I say, like, kind of push through a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
If that's all you know.
All parents do that with whatever number they are.
Right.
That's how
Right.
parenting works, right? Like,
And
9s are going to encourage you to be kind and soft and all the, right? Like, all parents do that.
Yeah. And so I think maybe that's a better way to phrase that.
That we were pushed through the 2 cookie cutter.
That's a great, first of all, that is a great phrase. I love that. I think this brings up something really important about family dynamics and reactive numbers. Because if you, okay, I'm shooting from the hip. I don't know if this is true. I imagine this to be true. Withdrawn numbers, Sarah, you said, are always going to be withdrawn. In any situation I'm in, I'm withdrawn, right?
Not any.
Say more about that before I go.
It depends on the stress and the stressor. And it depends.
Good point.
It depends on the situation and who I'm with.
Sure.
So I wouldn't say I always withdraw or I always will withdraw. That tends to be, that is a tendency, obviously. That is sort of a go-to, but it also depends on the situation and who I'm with.
So maybe it's better to say a pattern or a tendency, like you said, instead of always.
Yeah.
And then I'll say the independent numbers, same thing, tendency, pattern, always independent. We are the more aggressive ones in the room, we can say, right? Reactive numbers, I think, are really interesting because you are reactive, you're responding to your environment. So if you are in an environment with a lot of withdrawn people, you are going to react to fill that space of, okay, well, someone needs to make a decision, right? Whereas if someone's listening to this, they're a reactive number in a family full of 3, 7, and 8. I imagine they don't get told very often they're the biggest in the room, right?
I would bet they fight for who gets to be the biggest in the room.
Right. Or like, or if you're a reactive, like in a family of 3, 7, and 8s, if you're a reactive number, I bet there is something to be said for like, your family just wants you to make a quicker decision, right? Or like not worry about so much about what other people think about you, or just you worry too much, right? Or you're too focused on the environment and all these things. So it's like you're too little almost, right?
Your process is too long.
Your process is too long. That's a great way to put it. Your process is too long. So anyway, I'm hearing that like Veronica's like filling this space. And I wonder if other reactive numbers would feel that same, like whatever space they need to fill, they can do that. I don't know. Veronica, what do you think about that?
So I have 2 thoughts.
Yeah, go ahead.
And I don't know if they're going to be related or not. The first one is, when we were prepping for this, it's that thing of like, I want to fight somebody. And then the 9 is like, well, I'm not going to fight, so there's nobody for you to fight.
Yeah.
And
Your
I'm just like, but I'm like,
saying?
I like get up in the
She
stands
wants to
and
fight and I play dead.
or even if we're like talking about a TV show, I'm like, oh, didn't you notice this and this? And she's like, I guess. And I was like,
yeah.
match my energy.
Have an opinion. Yeah.
The second is, again, another second Saturday, but we were talking about intrusion on the 9.
Yes.
And like how they're like, don't bother my quiet. Like, this is the space I want to be. Like, your need for like motion, because another thing we talked about last time was just like, I love being on the go. I love doing, I love creating, I love problem solving. I love like being in motion. Body type, reactive, let's go.
Sure. Yeah.
That is not a 9 need. The 9 does not want to move.
Right.
The 9 wants to be here and like
Be in the present.
don't
Yeah.
like
Chill.
I did not ask. Was silence not an option? Like
Yeah.
And so I think it's not like a push-pull necessarily, but it's a little bit like you have to have that deeper understanding. Because before I had this knowledge, I would just be like, what the heck, dude? Why are you just sitting?
Yeah.
Sarah,
It's like,
yeah.
no, she is so like in her own and in her space and like is feeling her most like alive. Like on the kayak on the river.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm like running around like
the unstoppable
like-
force meets the immovable object of like
Literally.
like
Oh my gosh,
always
that's so
going
true.
and likes to just be.
Yes.
which
yes.
is it's also tricky to find compromise there.
Yeah.
Sure.
Because there's
Okay,
not
talk
a
about
lot
that.
because that's like sure you like if I want to run and you want to walk, like it's hard to like jog because then nobody's really happy. So you kind of have to the compromise kind of maybe okay, well, and then maybe this is just the one being like it's black and white. But
Whereas I would be
But,
like,
like-
why
but,
don't we
like-
get a bike instead?
Right.
See, and so I'm like, okay, so first we will sit and we will watch the movie for 2 hours. And then we will take a nice little walk over to this new place that I heard about, and then we're going to try curry.
Yeah.
So, like, we do one and then the other, and both of us, like, we want to see each other, like, experience that joy. It's
Sure.
not like either of us wants them to, or maybe this is just me. I'm not trying to, like, pull her because I think I know it's best. It's me trying to, like, have us have the best experience, and I just often need to step outside myself and be like, I don't actually know the best thing for her.
Sure.
And that was like, I think goes back to when we were little of like, come on, we're gonna go do this. And she'd be like, okay. And I took that as like, oh, we both want to do this, but that wasn't necessarily true.
Yeah. Sarah,
Maybe.
your thoughts?
I agree. And like, I think too, when I go to Chicago and I go visit and we have what we call like a city day. And so Veronica will make a list of, okay, these are the good places to eat. And these are the things that we can do. And these are the shops that we can go to. And it's like a menu of like, what? Choose your own adventure. What would you like to do? And so that is nice for me because I don't mind being pulled along. I don't like making decisions. And so that part of it can be really hard for me. And it comes from a lot of different things, not trusting myself and like having gut intuition, but also trying to think of other people. So like, I don't want to pick something that you don't want to do. I don't want to upset the harmony. I don't want to rock the boat. I want us to both be okay with what's going on. And it's hard in that way. But so when she gives me options, then I know that those are the things that she is okay with, and then I can pick from there. And so that I have found our past couple trips have been helpful. And so like I'm going out to Chicago in a couple weeks, and I'm like, okay, between Veronica and my 5 dad who loves a spreadsheet, like we have options of things of what we want to do. And like, you know, okay, some people want to go do this thing on this day. Great, we're going to make this reservation. And who's going into the city on this day? Okay, Veronica's got the list of the places we can go. Remember those great tacos? Let's go get those again. So it's helpful to have options when it comes to things, because I am fine being dragged along. But simultaneously, I'm also fine just sitting. I'm okay hanging out, drinking Diet Coke and, you know, just chatting or watching a movie or whatever. And I think that
dragged
can
or
be
floating, both are fine.
Yeah, as long as I don't have to be in charge. I don't want to be in charge.
I'm not pulling.
Just
Yeah.
Tell me what to do and where to go, and I am hunky dory.
Yeah. That's great. I really like this idea of, Veronica, like you said, the conflict between someone who wants to stay and someone who wants to run, and you can't really jog because now neither of you are happy. And I like this solution that you have is like, well, you just have to alternate between the two and love each other enough to like kind of meet in the middle that way. You know what I mean?
That, or find things that we have in common that we like, the middle.
Yeah.
So Veronica is really into British football. And so she wants to she is part of the Spurs team, whatever, out in Chicago. And so it's very important to her. So she wants to go watch the Spurs game at the bar, which means I get to go sit and have a drink and a snack. And so if we can find places like that, or we both love theater. So if we can find a show where ahead of time we can go someplace and hang out at a coffee shop, and then we get to go see the show, and then afterwards we can debrief, then that also is a way to compromise. And so finding ways that we can compromise by leaning into our interests more so than the activity itself is also really helpful.
It's very interesting to see our music tastes also, because they're like worlds apart, but then also they like come into the middle, and sometimes we're like, this very specific person is within the Venn diagram.
Yes.
We can play this in the car.
So we trade them back and forth, and we're just like okay, sure. But then every once in a while we're like, this amazing trumpet solo, and then like.
It's like when your friend shows you a picture of somebody they think is cute, and it's like not your type
Yeah,
at all.
sure.
And you have to be like, wow, that's really nice.
Love that for you.
I love that for you.
Good for you, not for me.
You. Yeah.
But then every once in a while we're like, oh my gosh.
We're like, yes, this is it. You hit it.
Yes.
Yeah.
A banjo.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Keep throwing darts. Eventually you'll hit a bullseye.
So, okay, I have a 9 sister as well. I don't know if I've said that yet. I have a 9 sister, and we also don't live in the same city. We live a plane ride apart. She's in New York. I'm in Cincinnati. And neither of us are big. In the Enneagram, we would say neither of us are feeling processors, right? Which is like, we're not big on, I don't know if you guys are big on this. We're not big on like reaching out, and like we don't like to text each other through the day and like do all these things and stay. Like when we are in front of each other, we love each other so much. We have the best relationship. It's awesome. And when we're apart from each other, we just kind of live our lives, and we'll like check in every so often. But that doesn't really hurt our relationship. You know what I mean? I know some people that would feel like the relationship's falling apart. I really like my relationship with my sister because I can kind of not talk to her for a while and we're cool, right? But that's an independent and a withdrawn number. Victoria, you are reactive, but you also you're a doer. You're not like a 264 people big connector, right? What's your guys' relationship like in that way when you're living apart from each other?
I would say that definitely defines our relationship with our brother. He very much is like doing his own thing, like doesn't need to be checked in on that much. He just like will post like he's an artist in like every sense of the word, minus the like getting paid for it with his salary.
Well, that was also a part of being an artist. It sounds like so.
Yeah, so he like makes short films. He like is working on a comic book or a graphic novel. I'm not sure the difference. Sorry, Charlie. Yeah. But so he'll post that. We're like, dope, dude. Like this is so cool.
That's
like
awesome.
Yeah, but we're not like, who are you talking to? What's going on? What's your day? Whereas me, Sarah, Mariah, my dad, we're Snapchatting each other probably every day, every other day. And it's not that deep usually, other than like, look at this amazing breakfast sandwich I got today. But then also there's other days where I'm like, man, like I'm so sad because of this thing.
Yeah.
Or like the World Cup's happening right now, so I'm just like, Scotland won, everybody. And so we're doing little check-ins all the time, which I'm gonna call connection, but I don't know if that's emotional connection.
Yeah. I mean, we were talking about this earlier. Like our dad is just he's not very emotional, and so like he would, if we did something, he would give us a hug and say he was proud of us and that kind of thing. But just a little side hug with a tap tap. So like,
proud of you. Yeah.
Like not talking about big, huge like life things, or if anything is going on. Like we'll say if something big happens. So like the fact that I am doing this musical, like I let everybody know that I got in the musical and everybody was like, great job. But we're not hugely emotionally connected. When we're all together, it's very much like we're all hanging out and we're having fun, like we're kind of sarcastic, but it's not very deep. But we all enjoy being with each other. We all enjoy each other's presence, but we, at least for me, like I had to find that sort of emotional solace elsewhere. And so that's what I go, like that's what my friends are for.
As I've gotten older, I've also started to realize I have emotional needs.
Like
that was like such a thing. That's like you hold it in. The John Mulaney bit. It's like we're Irish. We have feelings. We hold it right here, and then we die.
Yeah.
Like that's like really. and realizing like it's okay to ask for help when you have emotional needs. Mm-hmm. And I have had it described and have described it as like a fortress, like with bricks. And I've had to really like break down like brick by brick vulnerability, mm-hmm. like even with the people who know me the best and the longest.
Mm-hmm. Connect that to oneness for me, because I see a lot of ones struggle with that.
See, and that's fun because I don't really have any other ones in my life. And
maybe so, what it feels like for you then, even if it's not.
Well, I was gonna follow up with like when we. Here we go again. In the second Saturday groups, like Saturday. when we actually like have other ones to talk to about these things, I like have such a feeling of validation of like, oh, like not like I'm the problem or I had a really big thing of like I'm a burden on other people.
Sure.
Which cracked. And it's like, because I was talking to somebody and I was like, blah, 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 all these things. And they're like, okay, what else? And I was like, what? I just like unloaded all of my junk onto you. And you're just like, more? And even that's like, that's not too much.
Yeah.
It's like not even. And so getting to the place where I'm like, my emotional needs are not a burden.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's okay to ask for help. I don't have to do all of this on my own. I think a lot of that is very one coded.
I think so too.
Of like, this is mine to do, but it's everything. And I'm like, if I have to do this myself, I'm gonna do it myself. And that's a lie, though. It's not true. Yeah. Like, you need community. You need other people. It's not gonna make people think less of you.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I find it very, very often, like, the more vulnerable and open with people are, the more that they are drawn to you and the more connected you feel.
Yeah.
And that's really exciting.
I see a lot of we talk a lot about ones holding themselves to a really high standard, right? Which is like, sure, that's true. But I also experience ones holding themselves to a really high emotional standard. And what I mean by that is like, there's very little emotion you're allowed to feel before it becomes too much or not useful or not helpful, or like you have to get back to what you're supposed to be doing. So I agree with you. I see a lot of ones talk about, I feel like I'm only allowed to be this much before it becomes a burden on other people, right? Or I'm allowed to be this angry before I have to cut it off or whatever. Maybe anger is not a good example.
I think it's the like, I built up this protection and things are not allowed to get in, and letting other people affect me and have an effect on me.
In or out? Things aren't allowed to get in, or things aren't allowed to come out?
Things are not allowed to get in.
Okay.
So, like, if I get upset about something, I'm like, why am I letting this thing control me?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in control.
Sarah, you're right next to her on the Enneagram. Do you relate to that at all? Like, not wanting to let things in? I imagine something that's also maybe you are similar in. Do you relate to any of that?
Not as much. I am really heavy in the merging. And so I'm kind of the opposite. Like whatever what's happening around me, like I tend to match whatever is going on around me. I tend to be much more on the, I don't let things out. So I purposefully have to push my emotions out. And it was brought up to me once, like when I don't remember the circumstance, if I was opening a present or if somebody gave me good news. I don't remember, but this individual was like, come on, like, be happy. Why aren't you happy? And I'm like, I am. What? I don't, this is my happy face. What do you? And so this sort of like, trying to push out those emotions more to make them more apparent to other people is something that I have to work towards to try not to be so like flat all the time.
Sure. Okay, so we're at about an hour. So I'm going to ask you my wrap-up question. It's going to be different from the one I asked you last time that nobody's heard because we lost it. What I want to know, and I'm asking this in the context, right, of Enneagram, maybe like because you are your number, what do you think is the most valuable thing about your sister for you? Veronica, because you're a 1, what is the most valuable thing about having a 9 for a sister, right? Sara, because you're a 9, what's the most valuable thing about having a 1 for a sister? So I'm putting you both on the spot. Sorry. Take your time.
I have thought about this question a lot preparing for the last one.
Mm-hmm.
And so my answer was like really long and really broad. So I'm
That's
trying
right.
to think of like
It's the
how to
verbal
cut it
processing.
down. Yeah, no, 100%.
cut it down, it's fine.
100%. So I have like a couple analogies.
Sure, go for it.
And maybe so I have like 2. One of which I talked about last time, one of which I didn't talk about last time. So if we're talking about our relationship, I thought about the Artemis 2 rocket and their mission around the moon and how you need, like, what are the words?
The boosters?
Not rocket boosters to get the ship up and around the moon.
Right.
But then when they come back down into the atmosphere, you need a parachute in order to land. You need power and like projection, but then you also need softness and you need... So a lot of times I work myself up a lot and I get worked up and I'm like, I have nowhere to put this. And then Sara will very much is able to ground me in a lot of ways. It is my parachute.
I love that metaphor, by the way. I think that's phenomenal.
And then the other one I have is being a ship at sea and needing a lighthouse. I can get lost very easily in my own, like, I get my unproductive thinking, and I get stuck in my robot brain of processing, and I can't get through it. And Sara is very much my, like, light in the dark.
Yeah.
And so I don't know how you would describe that as, like, a characteristic or how to sum that all up other than... I guess my favorite thing about Sara is that she creates that space for people. And also, not just for me, but for everyone. All of her kindies, all of her friends, all of her coworkers, all of our entire family. Mm-hmm. Even the ones that I'm like, oh, they're so annoying. And she's like, well, like,
right.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
You need to stop. And I'm like, yes, that's true. Grace for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Patience and grace. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Patience and grace.
I agree.
And she is able to really, like, not snap me out of it so much as just, like, guide me safe to shore.
Yes. I agree. I'm thinking of the 9s in my life. I agree.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, people's answer to that don't usually make me cry, but that almost made me cry. So that was really good.
Well, that's probably not... See, and this is freaking... So in the second Saturday yesterday, we had, like, a little side chat between me and Andrew, who's the other one.
Yes.
And we were talking about how 1s can't take a compliment.
I was just about to be like, girl, take a compliment.
Like, and he's like, well, because we were talking about how 3s, like, can take a compliment all day, because that's what, like, but the 1s, like,
thanks.
nothing's ever done. So me being like, you were like, that was great. And I was like, well, that's probably because you relate to it because you have a 9 sister, so you're thinking about your sister. It's not that I did anything. It's great. Because of you, because you did that on your own. I didn't do that. But, like, yes, I did. I prompted that. Like,
yes, you did.
I did do that. I did have that thought process. I did give that answer.
That was great. Sara, you go ahead.
Great. Now I get to
your
follow
turn.
up.
Now you have to follow.
Oh,
that,
great.
so go ahead.
Love that. No, the couple of things that I think of with Veronica, and we kind of already touched on it, but she is definitely a, like, grab my hand and drag me along. And if she didn't do that, I would have been stuck at a lot of other times in my life. So especially thinking of college, like, I kind of accidentally joined a sorority in that I didn't know that I was joining until they offered me the spot. And I was like, what is happening? And Veronica was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. And so then I joined. And from doing that, I gained a lot of confidence and I gained a lot of friendships. And it was during that time that we were at a conference and somebody was talking about how people are leaders and followers. And I said, oh, I'm a follower. And the girl next to me who's in her sorority was like, what are you talking about? No, you're not. You're a leader. What are you talking about?
Hello?
And so, like, I wouldn't have had all those experiences. I was one of the vice presidents of our sorority for a time. And so taking up places of leadership and getting more confidence in myself. And I wouldn't have done any of that if Veronica hadn't kind of dragged me along. And so I know one of the analogies have been used previously for one's being a kite. And so sort of the booster is the kite of bringing people up and bringing people along. And Veronica is one of the people that drags me.
Right. Yeah. The rocket booster.
She's the booster. And so I similarly need that at times.
Yeah.
But then also thinking kind of along with the lines of confidence. When I was younger, I had a really hard times with friendships and, being a 9, not feeling like I belonged in spaces and feeling very out of place often. And so my go-to thought was always, well, what's wrong with me? Like, why don't people like me? What's going on with me? And I would talk to Veronica about it, and she'd be like, what are you talking about? That's their problem. Like, you're fine. It's not what is wrong with me. It sucks for them. Like, they don't get to be with you, and that is their problem. You are great. And so having somebody in my life who can be that, not only model those kinds of words, but also say that and put that onto me was also very good and continues to be something that she does. And so like when I now in this journey of trying to join theater as an adult, because why not? And I didn't get the part, one of the parts that I had been going for. And Veronica was like, well, they probably could tell that you didn't need it. Like other people needed this and you are strong enough as you are. And so you didn't need the role as somebody else maybe did. Like you got this kind of thing. And so having somebody who can help reinforce that confidence that I lack is great. Yeah, and I know that she is telling the truth because she is not afraid to hurt my feelings if she feels otherwise.
She will tell me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that was lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you both of you for coming back. Thank you for re-recording. Sorry that it got lost. It was lovely. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you. Yeah, this was really good.